Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sandra and I'm the owner and creator here at Midwest Charm, where we specialize in repurposed, upcycled vintage home decor and furniture, as well as all of your DIY needs. We have a room full of it. We carry 2 paint lines, Iron Orchid Designs, Roycycled Treasures, Connie Lines and Designs, and more. We've got everything. You can find us on all the social medias linked below, as well as on our website, which is also linked below, www.midwestcharm.co. And I think I covered all the details, right? So you guys, it's that time again. I have kind of sort of opened it, but let's go ahead and open my Curated Makers box. I am so excited. I've heard it's good. I was actually away at Sonnet's retreat and didn't get to open it until I got back, and I've been dying. So this has got our little QR code for a special video. Oh, you guys. Okay. So the first paper is called Rustique, almost like a fabric type with like little rust spots. Oh, that's lovely. I believe we got to play with this out at the retreat. I think this is one we got to use when we did Royce's. Oh, this one is called Botanical. Oh, this is yummy too. It's got some butterflies right off the bat. I just want to open this one for you guys. The other one is pretty, if it's one we played with, it just has like a border. This one, however, look, you guys, look. Oh, and this has got lots of wording. Classes for oil painting, watercolor, and pencil drawing in the background. Oh, so stunning. I love the bright color. Ooh. I'm in my head thinking, what am I going to do with these? So if you see me pausing, that's what it is. And then we have a rustic crow. The background on this is gorgeous. Oh, Connie outdid herself yet again. Look at that, the background on that. But look at our little crow. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh, this one may be... You guys, look at her. Or look at them, I should say. Ah. Okay, this needs something special, and I don't know what yet, but I'll come up with it. And then for our little special gift, we got like a little wooden leaf. That'll be fun. We have Prairie Gray for DIY and Firestarter. That'll go really pretty with those witches. Sweet Potato, which is one of Katie's favorites for the Sweet Pickins milk paint. And then we have Chateau, super pretty, and Carriage House. Oh, I'm in love with the colors. I'm in love with the colors. Okay, now let's figure out what we're gonna do.
First of all, forgive me, I'm struggling with a cold and my voice is not altogether there. I am going to be redoing this drawer, and I'm going to be using the paper called Rustique. These are all exclusive papers to Sonnet's box. The paint I'm using is Fusion Chateau, and it's a beautiful off-white. I actually really like this color. It just is a lighter color that came with the box, and I decided to use that underneath my paper. And I did do 2 coats of this, and then I'm using Prairie Gray, which also came in the box. And I'm going to be doing the sides and like the edges on this as well in this color. I do go in and, actually no, this isn't Prairie Gray. I do go in and blend some Prairie Gray in it, but I think I forgot to record that. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. So this is actually weathered wood, and I do go back in with some Prairie Gray and kind of blend the sides a little bit to bring that color in. This is drawers sell really well for us, and I love redoing them and making them special. And I knew the minute I saw everything and kind of put it together in my head, I was so inspired by a project that we did out at Sonnet's retreat with one of Royce's stencils that I carried that over to this project. So I will be using a stencil from Royce, and you can find a retailer. I don't have this one in stock right now, but as soon as I do, oh my gosh, because I'm going to carry this one, and I want to get the new croc one too, because they're amazing. But I am just going to give this one quick coat of this, and I don't know if you can tell, but I did do some blending on the sides. And then I'm going to use some DIY liquid patina to um, go ahead and apply this paper. I don't have a Mr. bottle at the store. I don't know why, so I'm just using a Kleenex just to kind of wet and run some water over the top of that just to get the fibers all stretchy. And I'm going to be using the liquid patina and doing a little starter strip, and I am going to be decoupaging those edges too, you guys, where the white is. So it's a little bit more, so I had to make sure I had enough hanging off the edges. That'll work. And so it's a little bit more complicated than just laying this down, but it's still really easy, y'all. I'm just smoothing out the top and getting out those wrinkles with my hands, and then I'm just gonna go back in and finish doing this in little strips and smoothing it out and making sure I get all those wrinkles out. I really do love this paper. It's like a tapestry almost. I really, really love it. And the little rust splatters that are in this are phenomenal. I am really loving it. I am going over the top of the paper as well now with the liquid patina. And then I'm going to be taking scissors and cutting where the sides of this go. I'm going to cut just along that little part to release it. And then I will also decoupage that top down on there. And I can't remember if I showed this or not, but I'm explaining it now. So if I didn't, I just cut the little sides down there, and now I'm just adding the liquid patina, and then I'm going to fold this over and let it completely dry. Once it's completely dry, I am going to go in with some sandpaper and sand off that edge. I'm just using a sanding sponge. I don't have my finger sanders here at the store, but just a sanding sponge, and I'll link those below. And loosening up that edge, and it just comes right off. It's super easy. I'm also going to use the same sanding sponge to distress the sides towards the end here. But I'm going to take this Apothecary stencil, and I am going to use black. I think this is Little Black Dress by DIY, which came in one of our previous boxes. And I don't have a stencil brush here or any of my little pouncing things. So I'm just using a brush and going in and offloading and then painting over it. For this project, if it bleeds a little, it doesn't bother me, or if it misses a section, because I'm kind of going for that weathered, worn look. I'm also, once I am done finishing up Apothecary, I'm going to go in and do the bottom layer of words that says like elixirs, balms, and something else, potions. I don't even know. I don't remember, I should say. So I just went in really quick and did this. Again, it's not perfect. I don't care. It looks worn and weathered, and I love it. And it's also in the dark edging, the distressed edging part, so it's not like really noticeable anyways. But I really love it. Poke a hole back in where the knob goes, and I applied the knob back on there. And there's just a really quick close-up. Project number 2. Y'all, this is exactly what inspired my whole box, was Royce and this paper here. I love these witches. And in my head, I knew it had to go on a bottle. And I searched everywhere to find the perfect bottle to put this on. And thrift stores and multiple of them, only to find out I had one in the store all along that I could have used. So I'm going to use just water here to kind of go around where I used my thumb and my fingers to press down along the edges, so I knew where I wanted this to be cut. And I'm not cutting it. I'm actually using the water to tear it, and it'll make it look like a really old label, because that's what we're going for, is a label on this vintage bottle. So I just apply water where I want it to be torn, and then just go back in, and then it just pulls apart so easily. And this will give it a real natural, organic edging that will just fit with what we have going here. So once this part is done, we are going to take out our, oh my gosh, you guys, the liquid patina. And I'm going to put this all over the front of the bottle where I want this to go. And simply, I added a little bit more under the rice paper. Rice paper is a little bit thicker, and I really tend to do this when I'm, just to give it a little bit more glue there. I'm smoothing this out with my fingers. There's some ribbing in the bottle, so I just want to make sure that I'm enhancing that. Going over the top with a good coat and getting all the little fibers down. Oh my gosh, this right here would have been perfection. I love this bottle, but just wait. So I go back to my stencil and I take some scraps, and I'm going to stencil out 2 of the labels that are in this stencil. And the same exact label, I'm just going to do 2 of them. And then I'm going to actually, when that part's done, I'm going to go around and fussy cut around those labels, because we are going to apply them to another bottle. So you can kind of see my little vignette forming here, my Apothecary drawer, and that first bottle with the witches, and then I'm going to do this bottle here, and it's going to be a pretty simple bottle. And I also did, I can't remember if I show this, you guys. Guess we'll wait and see. I did some tags and the leaf that we got in the box too, and those are all decoupaged as well with the scraps that I had. So I didn't have to cut any extra pieces off. So I'm just fussy cutting these here. I'm going to apply them to the bottle using the liquid patina. And I'm just going to put a little bit down, and this wipes off really easy. So I put it down, applied it, did my liquid patina over, and then I just go in with a wet wipe. Actually, I think these are Clorox wipes, to be honest. And I wipe around the edge to get all the extra liquid patina off. And it still seals up so nicely. And then I do the, oh, my mail. I didn't even realize I kept this in there, you guys. All right. Now that other little label will be going on to our little maple leaf. Obviously, I had no idea I left this on. And yes, I'm fighting a cold and I'm blowing my nose. My gosh, you guys, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, so here is that leaf. And I am just going to take the scraps here. I don't even remember if I painted this, because I don't think I did. I think I left them as is, and I just take the scraps, and because they're just 2 little strips, I ended up tearing them into chunks, and that way I could spread it out a little bit more and make sure that it fit the entire leaf and not have like the spaces on there. And I'm just going to apply the liquid patina, apply a piece, apply more liquid patina, apply a piece, and at the very end I will apply that second label that we fussy cut out, and that will go on this leaf as well. And I do check to make sure that everything has got a good coat of the liquid patina after everything is applied. And then it's waiting for it all to dry. I would have, if I had been at home, used the fire method to get all these edges off, because it's a pain in the butt with all those little leaf parts to go in with the sanding sponge and get them off. It worked. However, if I had had a lighter, I could have just lit those edges and it would have burned right up to the leaf and I would have been done. So instead, I had to mess with it a little bit more, but it worked. And there you got a quick view. I did write maple flavor on the leaf and love potion on the label. I am going to be using the Conservatory labels mold and the Apothecary label stamps for this last bottle. You can see I did start to paint this in our Prairie Gray. I'm using cornstarch in the mold that I want to use. I'm going to be using 2 of them, 1 for each bottle. And then I'll be using my IOD air dry clay and placing these into, smushing it up. It was, I double bagged mine, and this still was a little bit cold from, I don't know why it was so cold, but it was cold and a little bit hard, so I had to kind of soften it up. The micro rim on these molds makes it so easy to use air dry clay because it just breaks right off on those rims and peels off so nicely. And then I do use a stir stick to kind of smooth out the backs on these once I get both of them in the mold and ready to go. And I think I ended up pulling this out at one point on accident because it was really hard clay, you guys. So once I redid it all, it was totally fine. You can just see I just warmed it all up and rubbed it up a little bit more and went ahead and redid this. And again, that micro-win makes this so easy. And I think this is where I go ahead and use the paint stick to just smooth that out. And then I flip this over, roll them on out of there, and they pop right out. And I have my labels. So the bigger one is going to go on the Prairie Gray jar. And the smaller one is going to go on the Witch one. And I am double bagging my air dry clay right back up. Now I am taking out one of the tinier fonts for this, and I am taking out the letters to spell elixir, and then I am pushing them into this wet clay so that the wording, the word is actually impressed into it. And what I won't show is at the very end, I do need to add, or want to add some gold to this to highlight that, and I just didn't have that at the store either. So that will be done. I am going to be painting the one that's going on the Witch's bottle with the Prairie Gray. And I'm painting this before because I don't want to have to work around that beautiful paper. So I'm going to be painting this, getting a good coat on there, and then letting this set up for a little bit. And then I will be using Tight Bond Quick and Thick to apply both of these molds to the bottles. You'll see I just put a nice little coat on each one, smooth it out, and then apply them. This sets up, like it says, quick and thick, and I am able to work with them pretty much right away. The bottle that this one's going on now, I am going to be painting with 2 coats. You can see I already have part of it done. I did that last night while I was at work. Making sure all the pieces are like completely adhered down. I am doing this Witch's bottle, making sure the elixir is the right way. I did touch a little bit of wet paint, and I do have to do a little bit of touch up, but that's not hard to fix. So I get them both applied, And then, you guys, it's waiting for more time to dry, but I am going to go in the meantime and paint the other bottle and give it good 2 coats over the whole thing. And I'm going along the edges of the mold first. And I'm making sure, like, if there's any natural, like, little cracks that are already appearing, that I'm getting some of the paint into that as well. I do plan to dark wax these, which you can see a little later, but the clay was still a little too soft, so it didn't give it the effect I wanted to. When I go back into the store tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be able to work with them both then, but by then, this video will already have been released. So we're going to finish up our 2 coats on this jar, and then I am going to be stamping on the other jar. I'm going to use that Apothecary Labels stamp, and I'm going to use the same font that I used for the elixir in the bottom of this, and I'm going to pull out the number 3 and the letters for the words sisters. So my label is going to say 3 Sisters Elixir. And I'm just trying to place where to put it, but it's on a curve, so you guys can see I'm really struggling. So I kind of get that down. I do do a test stamp, and I'm using IOD permanent ink in black, but I do a test stamp on that little piece of cardboard right in front of me, just to make sure it's lined up how I want, and then I kind of adjust them. And I didn't realize I was so far off the camera while doing this part of it, guys. I apologize. But you can see I'm just wiping around so that the letters don't get mucked. And I like how it's mostly done, so I kind of tweak it a little bit, ink it up, and then we take it over to the jar. And then I'm going to wash all the pieces, and then I'm going to have to redo that S. So I'm going to leave the S on there and ink it up 2 more times and get the S, the other S's added to this. And here's where I had to go ahead and stir up my wax. It's Sweet Pickins milk paint wax, and it had just been sitting in a cooler room. And once you get this stirred up, it's so silky smooth, and I love using it, and it smells amazing. But I don't have the proper brush, and the clay was just a little bit too soft still. So I do still go around the edges of this label and make sure that all the little frayed parts on that soak in that dark wax color. And here they are. And the next project, cannot believe I got so many of these done. This paper is the Autumn Botanical. I was so in love with not only the bright colors on this, but also the saying. And I knew that I had this beautiful art case, this artist case at home that is perfect for it. So I am just using Victorian lace, which came in a previous box, and putting 2 good coats down on the whole, just one side of this, and then there's a little bit of an edge that's angled, and I am getting it on that part too, because we're going to make sure that's also covered up with the paper. So this is going to get 2 coats of this paint. It's got a sealer in it already. Once that is completely done and dry, we will go ahead and apply our paper. I am going to be using, I did use the DIY, my gosh, guys, my brain is just fried. And I, again, don't have a mister here, so I'm just using my hand to smooth this out. And I am just applying my medium and putting that on, and then lowering the paper. I think at one point I took it completely off. But getting it all smoothed out. And this still works really well. You can see I did get some water on the paper to help loosen up all those fibers in there. Guys, this cold is getting the worst of me at this point. I cannot even think. All right, once this is down, we're going to let this completely dry. And I'm going over the top of it. I did not talk about that, but we're putting a good coat of the liquid patina on top and getting that, making sure I got all the spots. So you can see me go over it, and then I kind of go back over it again because I could see a few little spots where I was missing. When I'm doing this large of a piece, it's sometimes hard while I'm videoing to make sure I'm getting it all. So I just made sure I got it all and just kind of went over it twice. Once this dries, you'll see it, like, because I'd gotten that paper damp, you'll see it just tighten up, and it gives it such a good, clean, smooth finish. And once it's also dry, then we will go back in with that sanding sponge and get off all of the edges. And again, I save these edges because I did make tags, and they will be seen later on in the video. The sanding sponges are linked below. I buy them, I cut them in half, and I keep them at the store for when we do classes and stuff, just because they're easier. I can toss them when we're all done with them. I think they're like a 220 grit. And then it just peels off as you go in that downward motion. It just completely peels off. So easy. I'm going to go all the way around this whole thing, and then I do go back in with the liquid patina one more time just along those edges to make sure that any of those little fibers get sealed down and we don't have to worry about this coming back up. And on to project 4. You guys, all these will be seen at the very end. I have some great pictures. I am taking a vintage brass frame, and I took everything out of it, and I am using Firestarter. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this. I'm not going to lie. Not my typical color, but I did go through and put 2 good coats of this on there. It's the DIY paint, and it's so pigmented and so lovely. Once this dries, I will put on the second coat, and then I do go back in and I use some Big Top for a top coat. And it does, there are some spots kind of the brass kind of still peeking through, which I actually ended up loving. And I am also, once that Big Top dries, we will go in with our dark wax, which is what I'm doing here. And I applied this heavy. I went very heavy-handed with this, and I left a good amount on there still in all the crevices. There's texture on this frame, and I really wanted it to pop that, and I really wanted it to look old because it had to go with the paper I'm putting in there. You're not going to see this, but I do go back through and put all the pieces back in, clean up the glass, slide that glass in, put my paper in, and I did paint. There was a cardboard insert. I did paint the back of that white as well, just to really help the paper pop, but I did not apply the paper to the cardboard. I left it so that somebody could change it out if they wanted to. And because this is DIY paint, even though it's sealed in, if they hate it, well, they don't have to buy it, first of all, but you could probably soak it off if you really wanted to. But I have been collecting all these vintage brass frames, and these 8x10s don't tend to sell as well for me. So I thought, let's go ahead and upcycle it. So we did, and I'm loving how this turned out. I can't wait for you to see these final projects. let me know which one is your favorite and what you think of overall my whole vignette that I did together. So what did you guys think of my video today? Which item was your favorite? I was actually kind of surprised once everything was said and done. I'm looking at them over there. What my favorite was, I actually thought it was going to be the little elixir jar with the witches because I absolutely love the witches. But I really, really love the crow in the orange frame, and I didn't think I would. But I love all of them, don't get me wrong. I really do. But I really like that crow today. Please let me know below which item was your favorite and what you plan to do with your box, or if you've already created what you did with your box. I love seeing them. Feel free to post them over on my Facebook group page. As usual, the link to get on the list for the maker's box is below. What else? All the items I used are linked below. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out and ask. I'm more than happy to answer them. And y'all, please like, subscribe, and share. Do all those things. It's free and it helps my little business. And I really, really appreciate it. And thanks for sticking through my cold and my horrible voiceover. I am finally feeling like I may be on the upswing. I'm hoping. So hopefully next week's videos are back to normal. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.